In this tutorial I'll show you how you can create this very clean money material, and it also includes number abbreviations. So if we go into the instances, we'll have a separate letter here that displays the 1,000, million, billion, etc. And we have two versions. We have one with the money per second, and we also have a default version. And you can easily change the colors here to whatever you want, and also the sizing. So I'm in a new project, and the first thing you're going to want to do is right click the name of your project, go to show and explore, and in here just paste the material assets folder that you can find in our Discord. Then once you go back, you'll see this material assets folder in UEFN. So by default we have the atlas folder, which contains two material instances, and also the numbers atlas. So this is used to extract the number that we need for the number abbreviation. So in the material, so let's pick one of these. We'll have the money per second. You'll see that the colors are set to white, and basically the only thing that you're probably going to change is the colors. So this top one is for setting the numbers itself. So if you want a greenish color, and this one is setting the dollar texture and also the abbreviations. So if we put this to a yellow, you'll see these two change. You can also change the outline color if you want to. And this value, before it's plugged into the emissive color, it determines how much light the colors give off, basically. So if you set it to 1, it's going to be the exact same as the base color, so it's going to be pretty bright. If you set it to like 4, it's going to be dark. But in my opinion 2 is like the best value for this. Then this part you'll see at the beginning is just for getting the correct suffix index, so we can extract the correct letter from the numbers atlas here. And this is for converting the number that's the input. So this is 300. It's going to take this path and convert the number to another number. We'll have space for this dollar texture and this slash and the S. But if it is a number larger than 1,000, it's going to add this letter here. Then we're going to get the number of digits by using the log 10 and then floor. And this is for getting the iteration, so we know which iteration we're on. And basically I wouldn't worry about these things, but the main thing you're going to change is the colors. So when you go into the material instance, you'll see this is the same as this one, and you can change the size X and size Y here. And this is also how it will appear in game. I'll show it in a second on the prop. And the value here is the number. And the value here is the number that will be displayed. If you want to add it as a prop, I'll just quickly make a props folder. Create a new blueprint class. Let's call this numbers prop. Open this. And as the static mesh component, you want to set this to plain. Just go in again, and then we'll set this to the dynamic money per second. You'll see that it's not player facing right now, but to fix this, just make sure you're on the static mesh. Search for evaluate world position offset, and then it will be player facing. And if you change these size X and size Y values, you'll see that it also changes in the prop. And then you can just add these to your play space. And I hadn't saved the updated colors yet, but right now it will display the yellow and green colors. And thus changing the size will also, what's this one? Thus changing the size will also change how it appears in game. And if you don't want it to be player facing, just go inside the material and remove this link. And then it's not player facing. So I will put it back like so. And to change these values in verse, we just want to quickly go to the verse explorer, create a new verse file. Let's call it numbers changer. Click create. Just save this. Now you can open it in Visual Studio. And I'll just remove these lines here. You return so it gets rid of the error. Then we'll need an editable for the creative prop. So let's call it my prop. And with this editable, we can, let's save and build first code. We can reference this prop, which has the money material displayed on it. So if we drag this numbers changer in here, we can select the numbers prop, which is this one. So what we can do with this is there is a set material function, and it can be used on a creative prop, and it needs a material and also an optional index. So to actually use the set material function, we need an instance of our material. And if we go to our, this is our root folder, and it's stored inside material assets, then inside atlas. So if you would try to set the material, so let's make it a variable because we need to change the value later, but let's call it my material. And this is going to be material assets.atlas. And then let's do the money per second. So this one, mi underscore dynamic money per second. So it'll give the error that it doesn't know the module because we haven't set it to public yet. So just call the material assets, and add the public specifier, and then type module. And then we need to also do the same for the atlas. So just go in here because the atlas is inside material assets, and make it public as well. And then we got rid of the error. So this is basically just referencing the material instance here directly through verse. You can also do it with an editable, but this is just the easiest way. Then what we can do is in the onBegin function, we can call the myProp and then use the setMaterial function. Then we can call the myMaterial. And this will basically just set the prop's material to this exact instance that we created at runtime. So to actually change this value, we can, let's create a new function called change prop value. And we'll make it a void function because it will not return anything. And let's make a new value. We're going to set this to the input. So new value will be a float. Then we're going to set my material value is new value. And if we go to this in the digest, it will say the value editable that you can also access in the material instance. So it's referring to this one. And then if you want to, we need an input number, so let's just set it to 10. So now it will just set the number to 10, and because this material is already applied to this prop, it will automatically apply it to the prop. So right now it will just set the materials So right now it will just set the material instance number to 10, and then it's going to automatically apply. So right now it's going to set this materials instance number to 10, and it will automatically apply it to the prop because we set the material at runtime to this instance. So we can do some fun things if we want to loop. Let's see. So it will wait 1 second for each loop. Let's keep track of the count. So let's make it a float. And then change this to count. And we're going to increase count by 1. So it will loop infinitely, and let's add a rig. So after it has exceeded 10, so the last one is going to be 10, then it's going to break and not update the value anymore. So this is just going to increase the value every second. I'll show it in game. So right now the game hasn't started yet, but you'll see that the number is still the same as in UEFN, but whenever we start the game, it's going to set the number to 0 and then update it. And then it's going to stop because we added the break to our loop. And there is a big bug going on that if you create 8,000 material instances, it's going to crash your server. So make sure that you don't create a new. So let's say you have a change prop value, you would have done it like this. And then set the value in here. So. And then set this one to. So this is another way that people do it, but absolutely do not do this because you're creating a new material instance every time this is called. And you can just do the same by updating it like we had before with the same material instance that's created at runtime. So for the other prop, the one without money per second, this is just the money, it doesn't include the per second. You can just create another prop as well. So let's duplicate this. It's called default numbers prop. And then open the full blueprint. And then just set the to money dynamic. Then you can just change the size as well in here. And then you can drag into your play space. Like so. So to use this with a spawn prop, let's call this my asset. Will be a creative prop asset. Is default creative prop asset. So we'll use the same material, and let's change this on begin function. And remove this, I'll remove this as well. So we can use the spawn prop function, which inputs an asset and creative prop asset, which we made here. And then the position can be either a transform, which is basically position and rotation combined, or the separate. So in the onBegin function, we're going to spawn the prop first, and we're going to call this spawn prop result. We do this because the spawn prop function returns a tuple of creative prop and spawn prop result. So we first need the asset. Let's call the spawn prop function, and then for the assets we're going to use my prop asset. It's going to give the error that we also need a transform. So let's create a transform. And then we're going to use the temporary one because it still uses XYZ. So if you go to transform, you'll see that it has a scale, rotation, and translation. So we're going to do the scale first, which is a vector 3. Let's just leave it at 1. And then we need the rotation. Identity rotation is just the default rotation of the prop. And then we need the translation. So we're just going to make a vector 3 with the middle of the map. Like so. And then we need to add this, my transform in here. Like so. And then this won't do anything, it will just get the spawn prop result, but we actually need to apply the material. So let's go to the spawn prop function. Like I said, it has the tuple. So the first element of the tuple was the optional creative prop, and that's what we need. So we're going to, let's first name the first element of the tuple. We're going to call my spawn prop. This will be the first element of this tuple. Let's call it my maybe spawn prop because it's an optional. And then let's call my spawn prop. It's going to be my maybe spawn prop unwrapped. So this is not an optional anymore. And then we can set the material for this one. Like so. And then we can do the same loop like we had before with the change prop value. And then it will also be applied to this prop. So the main thing you need to note is that you shouldn't create new instances for each update and just create one instance at runtime, or use a map to store the instances. And I'll share these for free in our Discord, so go over there if you want them. And I'll share these for free in our Discord, so head over there if you want the... And I'll share these for free in our Discord, so head over there if you want the assets.